Hello and welcome to 10-Minute Fringe. My name is Laser from A Shark At My Penis, and today I am talking to Paige Wilhide from Breakup Addict, which is an incredible show going to Edinburgh Fringe this fall. This fall? Yeah, I guess. How's it going, Paige?
It's in less than a month we'll be in Edinburgh. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling excited. I'm coming off of Hollywood Fringe, exhausted, but we're still kicking.
Tell everybody, what is the pitch for Breakup Addict?
Yeah, Breakup Addict is it's a journey through love addiction. And I actually wrote the show while I was in withdrawal from my addiction, which was men, all men. Like just I found that I had I was like using men to validate me and to make me feel loved and appreciated and validated. And so I went through a 12-step program for love addiction and cut out my like the source of my addiction for 30 days, and it took me into a really dark withdrawal period, and during that period I wrote the show.
It's
And
an incredible show.
thank you. Thank you. I'm so
It's very
glad you came to see it.
funny. There's a lot of fun characters bringing you along the way, but it's also very real. I learned a lot about love addiction because you tell us all what is it, the signs of love addiction or
The
the
12
symptoms?
characteristics of love addiction. So there is definitely an edutainment element to the show.
That's amazing. It's a thing I feel like I haven't heard that much about, especially in theater, and I'm really glad you're doing it.
Thank you.
Uh, what um what angle are you coming at this from? Like, are you an actor? Are you a writer? Are you what made you want to do a solo show?
I um I've been acting my whole life. I moved to New York, it went in 2011 to do theater,
Mhm.
and I went on kind of a detour and started a production company, and then and built that, and then moved to LA, working in production. And then I've just like always come back to acting over and over again. It's like the thing that just keeps pulling me.
Mhm.
And during this dark period of my journey, I was like, what's the thing that has always lit me up, and where do I always feel at home? Because I like no longer felt home in my own self. Like everything was just kind of being deconstructed. So I was like, stage is where I feel at home, live theater. And that's when I started working with my director Jessica Lynn Johnson, and developing the show.
Tell me about the characters in the show and and developing them. Like, you have a lot of friends who are trying to tell you what to do. What was it like putting that together?
Yeah. It's interesting because the 12-step journey actually required me to create like a want ad for my higher power. So like to describe my higher power and what she was like, and her being, and how it felt to be around her, and how she would support me. So I actually like developed the character of my higher power, who in the show, her name is Flo. I developed her while I was going through my 12 steps.
Oh, that's cool.
And yeah, it's pretty wild. Because I've had people who are in program come to the show, and afterward they're like, oh, I'm on that step right now, and this just gave me so much permission, and like ideas for my own higher power.
Oh,
So I
that's
thought
amazing.
that was really cool how that worked out. So Flo is my higher power, and then I got to sort of like develop the voices in my head when what I really did was I like went back into a specific moment when I was in a situation with a particular love interest. And I was like, okay, what are all of the things that I am thinking right now? One of them was my addict voice. That was like, he's our husband. This is going to be an amazing story to tell our grandkids, right? And then there was another voice that was like a little more grounded and neutral and like honest, and was like, this is maybe not the smartest decision to like fall in love with your doctor. So there was like intuition and addict kind of like go back and forth. And then grief is another character that I developed through working with Jessica, and that was, um, yeah, I think grief is maybe one of my favorites because one of the philosophies that I share in the show is that if you don't actually lean in and look toward your grief and accept your grief, it it turns into like more destruction in your life, like
Yeah.
habits, addictive habits, things like that. So I actually got really I created like a really beautiful relationship with my grief in writing this show and developing the character of grief.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Mhm.
The show feels very therapeutic, and just at watching it, and it's very easy to see yourself in it. Maybe not
Yeah.
everybody, but definitely for me and Becca, my partner, we were like, yeah, it's a show that really gets to you. So good
Yeah.
job.
Thank you. And I think even if you can't see yourself, there's like someone in your life that you can understand a little better by watching the
Absolutely.
show. I think everybody knows someone who's got some of the patterns that I have.
Yeah, that's my next question is, what do you want people to get out of the show?
I just want people to feel seen. Like that's I was so embarrassed going through these experiences, feeling like I was the only one. Like I'm this crazy woman, I'm like
Yeah.
insane doing these things. And the truth is like I just I would I mm, we all have these like parts of us that we don't want other people to see, but
Yeah.
when we can when somebody else shares that part of them like I'm doing in the show, when someone shares that part of them and they're like and they can see it and say, "Oh, that's a thing I have and I never wanted someone to know or I never
Yeah.
thought that that was something that like that somebody else dealt with," right? And so there's just something really healing about when you can feel so seen by somebody else. And I think that's really like the main thing is I want people to feel seen.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Tell me about uh the rehearsal process, the editing process. Like, are there things that came out? Are there things that got thrown away? What has that been like?
Well, I think once I started performing it in Hollywood Fringe, doing 3 shows, 3 performances of this show,
Mhm.
it started getting clearer and clearer that I needed to cut the show. It was feeling too long. Like, the show started speaking to me, and there
Yeah.
were, like, moments in the show where I was like, "Okay, this is peaked. It's time to wrap this up," yet I still had another, like, 15 minutes of show to do.
Right.
So, I've worked on condensing it, taking out a lot of like a lot of details that were not necessary. And I actually like reworked an entire piece. I'm adding like a whole new scene in the show. But
Yeah.
it's been such a process to like cut it down. It was 80 minutes and then 75 and now it's like hopefully sub 60, we hope. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's cutting it down is hard,
Oh
because
yeah, I'm doing the same thing, and it is
you
tricky because
are.
you want it to be punchier, but you also are like, well, this part's good, and people
But
like it. Like, there's no one part that nobody
I
likes.
know.
So it's
I
tricky.
know. I'm like, how do I make this into like 2 different shows or something so that I can still, keep all these pieces in? But yeah, it's such a process cutting it down.
Yeah.
It's a
Uh,
death process. I'm like grieving the pieces that I'm not
Absolutely.
gonna be able to share.
And thankfully, you're great at grief, so there you go.
Thankfully, I
Okay, so I
develop a
have
relationship with my grief.
I have a question for you from our previous guest. So our previous guest is Mara Joy, who is in the Spontaneous Potter and the unofficial improvised parody. It's a great show. Mara's a delight, and she wanted to know, how many times do you plan on climbing Arthur's seat, and why will it end up being only one?
What?
So I want to know what your plans are, and then what will happen. to those places.
What is the word? Arthur what?
Oh, Arthur's Seat. Do you not know, Paige?
Is this a Scottish thing?
Yes. Oh, how
Oh my
exciting.
god.
So Arthur's Seat is one of like the big Edinburgh landmarks. It's just like a really big hill where you're like, I'm gonna go, and then you get there and you're like, oh, this is much bigger than I thought it was, and I'm tired.
Well, yeah, absolutely. It'll be only once
Yeah.
because I really listen to my body, and my
Oh, good for
body
you.
does not like to do a lot of strenuous activities.
Good. Good for you listening to your body. Yeah, everybody, like even me, I'm like, I'm gonna do it every day, and I'm not. I'm not gonna do it every day.
Laser. Wow.
But it's just like it's cool. It's one of the volcanoes of Edinburgh because Edinburgh is built on all of these dormant volcanoes.
I
You,
should learn about the places I'm going. I should
you're
maybe
fine.
do some research.
There's some fun stuff. We'll talk about it. Um,
Yeah, yeah. We'll
what do
do it
you
together.
what do you want me to ask the next guest?
What do I want you to ask the next guest?
What do you want to
Um,
know from other creators at Edinburgh? Do you need advice on where to
oh,
go?
oh my gosh. Like, yeah, what's like the best place to go? I would say, what do I want to know from other creators? What like how do you plan on okay, this is something I was talking to my friend about today is like I'm doing the show, most of us are doing the show every single day in August, right?
Mm.
How do you plan on creating a new context for the show if you start to get stagnant or bored or if it starts to like plateau?
I love that, and I wish I knew an answer for it.
That's what I'm trying this is what I'm trying to figure out. My friend's like,
Just
just
do
create a new context.
do a new just do it in a different accent. Pretend like the queen is there every night. Oh,
There
the
you
queen, I
go.
guess.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Dedicate it to a random audience member. I don't know. Right.
Oh, that would definitely change the context because then you're dealing with another person. Even if they never talk, you can like you're so focused on their face. That
Yeah.
would be like a really terrifying thing to do. I like that.
That would really keep you on your toes,
I would
but
very
alive.
much, very much.
Mhm.
Well, where and when is Breakup Addict in Edinburgh, Paige?
Breakup Addict is at Gilded Balloon Teviot in the billiard room, and it's gonna be daily at 16:30, which is
Amazing.
4:30 PM.
You're like right before me in the same building. This will be fun. We can just
I
like
know
drop
we're
by.
back to back, right? What time are
Yeah,
you?
I'm at 1800.
Yeah,
Yeah. I like
perfect.
all of us talking like we are okay using 24-hour time, like we've ever done it before.
We're so cool.
We're
We're
so
already there.
British. Everybody check out Breakup Addict. It's a truly wonderful show. It's got a lot for everybody. I really hope everybody sees it because I think it puts a context on a lot of the things that we may not remember about ourselves, if that makes sense.
Mm, yeah,
Paige, thank you so much for joining me on 10 Minute Fringe. I hope you
thank
have
you,
an incredible
Laser.
day.
It was so fun. Bye, everybody.
Bye.